Welcome in. It's the Monday Scorecard presented by Encore Golf. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Professional golf still being played across the world, the European Tour. My man, Tommy Fleetwood, gets another win, this time at the Ned Bank Challenge. But the big story right here on the homeland, the PGA Tour with Brendan Todd. Back-to-back wins now for Brendan Todd. Just a couple weeks ago, he wins Bermuda Championship. And now here he is again in the winner's circle, Monday finish at the Mayakoba Golf Classic. Brendan played his college golf at the University of Georgia, now 34 years of age. And his career is one of a true journeyman in professional golf. And I want to share with you a little bit about this journey, the highs and lows, because really it's quite fascinating. I'm going to take you back to 2010. In 2010, Brendan was on the Korn Ferry Tour. 13 starts, missed the cut all 13 times. Big struggle in 2011, 12, 13. Finally started to get some form. And in 2014, he wins the Byron Nelson Championship. Some good golf followed that. Into the next season, 2015, he rolls into the BMW Championship, opens up with rounds of 66 and 63. And little did he know that everything was going to change in the third round on Saturday. It was the fourth hole. And Brendan hits a shot. And it goes 50 yards to the right. 50 yards to the right, one hole over and into a bush. He takes a triple bogey, ends up shooting 76 that day. And as Brendan puts it, everything changed on that swing. Right? Now keep in mind, this is a guy that won a year ago and opened up this tournament with 66, 63. But one swing changed everything. That's how fickle this game can be. And it changed because he started to fear the shot to the right. And with fear led to anxiety. He started to not trust what he was doing. He started steering it, and it led to the full swing yips. We hear about the yips a lot in putting. But for Brendan, he had it in the full swing. Big struggle fall. 2016 to 2018, 41 starts, missed the cut 37 times, and fell all the way to 2006 in the official world rankings. So something had to change, right? He was searching. A lot of different teachers, concepts, and he got a recommendation from his former player at the University of Georgia to go see Bradley Hughes. And he started by getting Bradley's book online. He set up a lesson, and the two have been together since. Bradley Hughes was a good player himself, won multiple times across the country, but has really become a very good teacher. And Bradley, I think, was a perfect fit for Brendan Todd. Brendan strikes me as a player that's not real technical, doesn't want to quantify improvement through numbers, through video, but rather, where is the club, where should it be, and then let me go find it. And that's exactly what they've done. Bradley, in talking about Brendan Todd, quote, he wanted to trust the club was going to do what it should do. Where's the club? And then from there, let me go find it and start to build some trust. And they've been building trust, and things have been moving in the right direction, but still not to the point for the comfort of a professional golfer. In fact, just 1 year ago, Brendan Todd, check this out, just 1 year ago, this month, met with a financial advisor and discussed pursuing other careers. In fact, was considering opening up a pizza franchise. But in a Monday qualifier at the RCM Classic, which is being played this week up in Sea Island, he shot 61 in the Monday qualifier and then put 4 rounds of the 60s together in the tournament. Things have been now moving in the right direction, and now here he is in the winner's circle, back-to-back time. All right, back to Mayakoba we go. I've got to talk about this other story that really bugged me from the Mayakoba tournament there, and it was with Russell Henley. And you probably saw this in social media, but Russell Henley on Saturday, the second round, shoots 69, -2. After the round, he signs a scorecard, and he's out signing golf ball for fans. And Russell Henley's a great guy. Signing golf balls, and he realizes that one of the balls is slightly different than the other balls that he has in his bag. And he thought that might be a bit of a concern because in professional golf, there is a one ball rule. And basically what that means is that you have to have the same type of ball in your bag. You can't have a different, multiple styles of balls, right? Where you could be going back and forth as you're playing. There has to be one specific ball, and you can change that ball throughout, but it has to be the same ball. So anyway, he realizes that this particular ball that he has is a slightly different version of the ball that he plays. I'm not even sure how it got into the bag, or if he even played the ball during the round. So it was really quite complexing for him. So anyway, he goes to the official afterwards and says, look, this ball was in my bag. I'm not even sure if I played it. I'm not sure how it got there. What do we do, right? So they look into it. The official, I think they even called the USGA. And I'm not going to get into the whole conversation and what happened there, but basically the ruling comes down as this. This is the reality of the one ball rule. And keep in mind, we're not even sure if he actually even played the ball. It was just in the bag. They come down with an 8-shot penalty. 8 shots. An 8-shot penalty around the one ball rule. Does that make any sense to you? I didn't think so. It doesn't make any sense to me either. What are we even doing here with the rules of golf? And moving on to our final segment here. Every week, moving forward, we're going to be putting the spotlight on a player and what do they need to do to take the next step on the PGA Tour in the new calendar year, or perhaps get back to form. And we're going to start with a player that's looking to get back to form, and that is Jordan Spieth. Get back to the form that won him 11 titles on the PGA Tour and 3 major championships. But it's been a struggle for Jordan Spieth. Right? First it was the putter. He's got that figured out. But now it's been the driver, and the struggle's been going on now for a period of time, really the better part of a year and a half, pushing 2 years. You go back statistically, 2018-19 wraparound season, strokes gained tee to green 157th. Strokes gained off the tee 176th. This season, 2019 into 20 wraparound season, 3 events. T8 at the CJ Cup, T66 at the Zozo, T43 WGC China, but the driver has still continued to be a mess. And it can't be a mess because he only hits at 295, right? He's giving up a lot of distance off the tee. He has got to be accurate, and accurate is something that he has not been. The driver has just held him back. So what's going on here with Jordan Spieth, with Cameron McCormick? These two have been a great partnership. They've had a lot of success. Cameron's done a nice job with Jordan from his junior years to college golf at Texas into the professional rank, but something is not translating. The reality is Jordan is going backwards with the driver. So perhaps my question here is it time for a different opinion on what Jordan needs to do with the driver, a different voice, a different idea to flip the switch here? So I thought I would reach out here to finish up the Monday scorecard to Shaheen Nakjavani, a terrific coach up in Toronto, really a very strong technical teacher, someone that I respect. And I asked him, I said, Shaheen, what would you do with Jordan technically to get him moving in the right direction again and once again hitting fairways on the PGA Tour? Here's what he had to say.
So one of the things, in my opinion, that Spieth has been struggling with all season is that he's not getting that deep hip turn that he typically has. So what I'm talking about is essentially he's not getting his right hip far enough behind his body, and so that's creating a restriction where his arms can no longer get deep enough. So obviously when you play draws, you're better off doing so from a deep position with the lead arm. He no longer is as deep as he was in the past. And then you combine that with the fact that he's a little bit laid off more than usual, and that's creating all sorts of problems. So if we go to the second frame now, what you're noticing is because he didn't get very deep in the backswing, now all of a sudden on the way down, his hands are getting a little too far out in front of him, and because his shaft was a little bit on the laid off side, it's starting to steepen. So if we actually go to the third frame now, this is where the most noticeable changes are taking place. His lead arm is getting a little too far out in front of him, especially for a player who typically scores really well when he draws the ball off the tee. You can see that his shaft angle is coming down relatively steep, and his face is getting a little bit open. All of this is going to create a path that's too strong from out to in. Obviously, the lack of depth is also going to influence the path very far to the left, and all these things are creating problems. So when you look at the last frame, this is just trouble waiting to happen. His club head isn't nearly far enough behind his body or the hand path. So when he used to draw the ball and swing really well, his hands were a little deeper, and the club head especially was a little more inside the hands, somewhere in this area here. And you match that with the fact that the face is getting open. So his path is getting a little too far left. His hand path is getting a little too far out in front of him. And a large majority of this stems from the fact that he's not loading nearly as well. So he's got to get his hip turn a little bit improved, a little deeper into the right side. He's got to get his arms much deeper at the top. And he's got to get that shaft a little less laid off so that he has room to shallow it in transition. He does these things, he's going to start hitting the ball exactly like he was back in 2017 when he was really, really high in the strokes gain ranking off the tee.
Interesting stuff, and well, it'll be interesting to see what Jordan Spieth does into the 2020 season. He can't continue to go down the path that he is and hope to compete with these guys that are blown at 10, 15, 25 yards past him. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Monday Scorecard presented by Encore Golf. We'll see you next week.